Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go. Hello, welcome once again to another episode of Waywut. My name is Darrell. I will be taking us on our kind of unpleasant journey tonight.
Oh man,
depends on the point of view. Actually, no, it's kind of sad for the most part. Yeah. And here I am with the guy who lost his wrestling fame after his infamous and deadly interaction with a child's ant farm. Jason.
I like ant farms. I would never crush one.
Jason, I don't care how many times you say that. You're never going to get to be a wrestler again. The time of your life's over.
I know. Yeah. I know, it's hard. I just go back and watch my videos.
Touch yourself. Oh,
God. Just watch them in the bathroom.
So today's rant is a bit of an existential rant. Have you ever thought about how wasteful life is?
Certain aspects of it, yeah.
I mean, well, I'm not talking about wasting time. I'm not talking about like playing video games or people that just eat half of their fries and throw the rest away. I mean life as a whole. Each person has their own experiences, mistakes, triumphs, love, and all the rest of that crap. And then, boom, it's gone. It's just over. Whether it's heaven or hell, nothing, reincarnating into a butterfly or whatever, all that time and stuff and feelings are kind of just gone and done, just leaving this hope of whatever good memories the people around you have, that they're going to hold on to those and maybe talk about them with each other or their kids or whoever.
Yeah, that's how you keep somebody alive, is by the memories.
Yeah, but I look at it, I think it makes life a wasteful experience. It would be like playing Super Mario Brothers or Minecraft for any of you young people. And then as soon as you die in the video game, it gets deleted from your system and you never get to play it again. I mean, would you want to pay $60 for a game that does that?
No.
Of course not. It's wasteful. Now, I'm not saying that I think we should be like reincarnated with our brains already filled with a lifetime of knowledge. That would be horrible. Who wants to be cognizant of being pulled out of their mom's vagina? Nobody wants to be like, hey, what's happening? Oh, God, I know what's happening. No! I mean, maybe that is the case. And then we're all just so traumatized that we forget.
Instantly forget. Yeah, your brain's like, everything. You don't want to remember that. Yeah.
We go catatonic until we're like 2 or something.
Pretty funny.
My vote, if whatever cosmic or infinite being that is making the call is listening or cares to listen, is we get another shot or 100 shots or hell, even like 1,000 shots at the same life over and over. Kind of like Mario Brothers, where you die and then you just go back to the beginning. I would be cool with that. We got these amazing, weird brains with all this extra subconscious space. Just pack all those old memories in there, just like really, really deep. And then as we have another chance at the person that we were, we come across one of those mistakes or, fork in the road, our brain has the slightest hint or intuition. And then maybe this time we make a new choice or we take a different path.
Or you smell something familiar.
Maybe.
Just triggers it.
Smell is the sense most related to memory.
Uh-huh.
Now, it is kind of horrifying if what I'm saying is what already happens. and I still manage to keep making my major screw ups over and over. God or whoever, whatever, is sitting there on his heavenly couch watching and screaming, "Damn it, he keeps getting married at 19!
Why won't they learn?
Jesus! What? No, not you. I'm mad. I don't know. I mean, I really do hope that's an option after we die. Being someone with an exceptional long-term memory, I'd like there to be some value in my brain's ability to remind me about all of my worst decisions. It'd be a superpower then.
It would be nice.
Yep.
Not making the same mistake twice.
Yeah. Speaking of the fragility of life and bad decisions that lead us down a bad path, here's today's topic. Everyone who was around in the 90s remembers the months and months of the OJ trial.
Oh, yeah. What a time. What a time.
Yeah. Famous guy was on trial for murdering someone and the country was divided. He's guilty.
Absolutely.
He is not guilty. Blah, blah, blah. I had a significant portion of my family like, he's not guilty. I think Marcus Allen did it. Well, okay, whatever. Most of us remember recently when all the news for about 3 whole days was about Alec Baldwin shooting someone. Then the news moved on from that one pretty quickly.
Yep, somebody else shot somebody.
They're just kind of like, oh, no, yeah, okay. Moving on. Well, today I'm going to talk about celebrities that have killed people.
Oh, that's subtle.
And surprisingly, this is not a rare occurrence. So I'm specifying this episode as celebrities that have killed people in car accidents. Maybe we can explore the other ways they've done it in
like a
future
part 5
episodes.
or something.
I am adding a caveat to this episode. Most of the time, whenever I do these kind of things, there's usually some sort of caveat. I'm not talking about any celebrities that killed passengers in their car. It's scarier in my mind if you're minding your own business and some celebrity you never met or normally never meet just comes out of nowhere like some sort of famous lightning strike and kills you. Whenever it's somebody that knows them, it's like, okay, well, you knew they drove like a douchebag or would get drunk while they did shit. So I'm not counting any of those because lots and lots of them have killed people that were riding with them. All right, well, with that out of the way, let's get started.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to start with one that's fairly well known, but not necessarily brought up very often. In August of 1987, on a country road in Ireland, a BMW and a Volvo collided head-on. Both of the people in the Volvo were killed in the collision. Margaret Doherty, age 63, and Anna Gallagher, age 28. Both died at the scene. I mean, and people say Volvo's like the safest car ever.
Huh.
The passenger of the BMW, Jennifer Grey, from movies like Red Dawn and Dirty Dancing, was the only conscious person from the accident. Matthew Broderick, the driver of the BMW, has no memory of that day at all.
Oh, no.
One of the first responders that testified said that Broderick kept asking, "Did I hurt him? Did I hurt him?" over and over. No one has ever said exactly what happened, but it is noted that Broderick was completely sober. There was an investigation and Broderick pled guilty for careless driving. He paid a $175 fine and that wrapped it up.
How much? You say $175?
$175. $175 in 1987 dollars, so that's like $500 now.
Wow.
To Broderick's credit, he did not try to sweep this under the rug or avoid it. The family of the dead women have spoken with him and forgiven him. They know it was an accident and they have no anger towards him. So he didn't try to hide behind his lawyers to talk to them. He actually spoke with them, sat down with them. Broderick has said it is very difficult to come to terms with what happened, but it has gotten better with time and lots of therapy. I mean, being that it was in Ireland, I wouldn't be surprised if, he's an American. He kind of drove on the correct side of the road, but the incorrect side of the road whenever you're over in that part of the world.
Yeah, just not even realize it.
Yeah. Well, on to the next one. On June 27th, 2010, Fred Seaman, and it's Seeman, and his wife
Still,
Helen.
you gotta change that name.
Well, not that they can't do that anymore. They were going home. They slowed down to about 3 miles an hour to turn left into their driveway when a car going nearly 20 miles over the speed limit crashed into them.
Damn.
60-year-old Helen Seaman was killed in the crash. The car that hit them was driven by actress Amy Locane. She was on Melrose Place and movies like Airheads, School Ties, and Crybaby. So, back in the day. Way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
She's more of a 90s star. Her blood alcohol content was 0.23%, which is almost 3 times the legal limit.
It's up there.
Yeah. In November of 2012, she was found guilty of vehicular homicide and assault by auto. The sentence for her crime had a 5-year minimum prison sentence. However, Judge Robert Reed said, considering the welfare of her children, he was only going to sentence her to 3 years. So they had this mandatory minimum, and he's like, no, she's got kids. We're going to go less than that. And that's why I picked this one, not because she's super famous, but because I'm pretty damn sure that judge wouldn't have reduced the minimum sentence for a lady who worked at Family Dollar if she killed somebody drunk driving. I mean, and the thing is she wasn't even a single mom. She was married. So what he was saying was complete bullshit. I mean, it would have sucked for the kids, but they still had their dad.
Mm-hmm.
Killing someone while drunk driving is one of those crimes you never hear about a judge going light on. I mean, judges aren't ever sitting around saying, oh, those poor drunk drivers, we need to lay off of them a little bit. That just doesn't happen. Unless the drunk asshole has money.
Mm-hmm. Pay a big fine.
Yeah, then all of a sudden, some judges start feeling more compassionate. You know, remember the, affluenza kid down in Texas where his parents were like, well, wait, when I say down in Texas, I mean like down south of where we are, where his family was really rich and he got in a wreck, killed people. And then his lawyer said, well, he just doesn't understand right and wrong because he's spoiled rotten. And judge is like, you're right. No jail for him. She served her sentence until she was paroled in June of 2015. That is until the prosecution finally had their appeal heard in July of 2016. The prosecution had been fighting the lenient sentence since it had been issued, which this shocked me. I did not know the prosecution could appeal a sentencing and be like, no, that's not enough time. Give them more. Even Judge Robert Reed said that he made a mistake. Instead of 2 years less than the minimum sentence, he came to the realization that the sentence should have been 3 years and 6 months. I really kind of hate this guy. He's the kind of guy that has no sense of his impact on a given situation. Imagine this judge set fire to your wallet or purse while it had like $500 in it. His reaction would be, oh, here's $4. We're even, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it right, doesn't it? He followed his sentence addition up by saying she doesn't need to go back to prison to serve the 6 months because she wasn't a threat to society. I'm thinking someone must have paid him really well because he was busting his ass to keep her out of jail.
Contribute to my campaign.
Something. The appeal was not over, and the prosecution, who obviously didn't get their share of the judge's money, finally got her sentence to the minimum 5 years. But Amy was like, oh, hell no. I served my time. I got paroled. So she appealed because she didn't want to go back to prison. No, of course not. After a bunch more appeals from both sides, in September of 2020, she was sentenced to 8 years in prison with a minimum of 6 years served before she would be eligible for parole.
Dang.
She probably should have just accepted that initial 5-year minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come back and bite you in the ass. You know, it makes you say that went through so many appeals back and forth, and we wonder why our court systems are so clogged up with crap. Is because they can never get on the docket because of this crap.
Well, that's why there's appellate courts, though. That especially do appeals. So, I mean, they're not
But still,
congesting
those
the
are
regular
even
court.
less than there are in district courts or county courts or justice of the peace courts or any of those. There's even less appellate courts.
Do you want
And
more judges? Is that what you're saying?
no, I want court cases to actually need to be appealed. Go to the correct court case or go to the court without having a huge backlog.
I don't trust our system enough to really reduce the amount of appeals.
Everybody's entitled to an appeal, but it just clogs it all up when you got shit like this going on.
In December of 2024, she hit the 6-year mark and was released. Since then, I have no idea what she's doing because nothing new has been added to her filmography since 2020. So I don't know if she's just kind of just chilling out, relaxing, reading books, working at a Home Depot.
I was going to say Starbucks.
Yeah. All right, our next killer celebrity. In June of 2001, a 9-year-old boy named Jorge Cruz Jr. chased his soccer ball into the street. A car stopped so that the boy could run out there and get his ball. As he ran past the front of the stopped car to get his ball, another car swerved to pass the stopped car. Jorge was struck and killed by the car. The driver was a then 29-year-old Rebecca Gayheart, the former Noxzema girl. You would know her from movies like Urban Legend and Jawbreaker. But I know her from all of my youthful fantasies because teenage and early 20s Darrell had a huge crush on her. Whenever her sex tape came out, I was like, yeah. I wasn't, even though all it was her like hanging out in a bathtub with a former like Miss Teen America or something. But still, boobs. She wasn't intoxicated or anything like that. She was just impatient. She also did not fight any of the stuff that came after it. She pled no contest to a charge of vehicular manslaughter, so nip that right in the bud. With that, she was sentenced to probation, 750 hours of community service, and had her license suspended for a year. The parents of Jorge sued Gayheart for wrongful death. They settled out of court. Again, she didn't fight any of it. It's like, okay, we don't need to go back and forth in court over this. Here, how much do we need to give you to make you feel at least a little better?
That's refreshing to hear.
Yeah. She has since talked about the accident and said she considered killing herself for about a year. And during that time, she just embraced every single self-destructive behavior, trying to make that happen without
actually
purposely doing it. Yeah. Since then, she has come to terms with what happened and feels like she needs to live her life with purpose to make amends for what she did. She has dedicated a lot of her time and money since then to an organization called Chrysalis. It's a nonprofit that tries to help homeless people prepare for, find, and keep jobs. So instead of saying, here's some money or food to homeless people, it's like, hey, here, let's try to get you in a situation, where you can keep yourself off the streets. Of course, they live in California, so even if they're making $80,000 a year, they're probably still going to have to be homeless. I give her all the props on this. Anyone that can take negative feelings and some sort of catastrophe like this and focus it into energy for positivity is doing pretty damn good. So, do you remember her, the Noxzema girl?
I think so.
She's a total babe. I think it was mainly her hair. She had that like really thick, tight curl hair. And I don't know. I've always had a bit of a thing for that. I don't know why. I mean, they're for the longest. Like my dream girl was a girl with thick, tight curls, a black skirt with like about knee high boots. I don't really care what her top was, but she would have big jugs, and she'd be playing a piano.
That's some fantasy.
I mean, I was romantic in my head. That was just like, oh god, that. And I didn't understand what a biochemical engineer that understands FDA regulations inside now. How hot that was. I was too young. Now I know because I married that. So on November 6, 1963, in Midland, Texas, a car ran a stop sign, crashed into another car, and killed its driver, 17-year-old Mike Douglas. The car that hit him was driven by his friend Laura Welch, who would eventually become First Lady Laura Bush.
Oh.
She had just turned 17 herself at the time, and her, along with the passenger she had in her car, escaped that accident with minor injuries. She wrote about the accident in her memoirs, saying that while she was in the emergency room, she could hear Mike's mother crying and grieving about his death right there. She's like, ouch, ouch. Being 17 years old, it was very difficult for her to face the effects and consequences of that accident. She has written that she did not attend the funeral or ever speak with Mike's parents after that accident, and it's something that she regrets deeply.
How would you go to the funeral?
What?
How could you go to the funeral?
She knew him their whole life. I mean, you just go.
But everybody would be hating on you.
I mean, it'd be one thing if she was driving drunk, but I mean, it's an accident. Mistakes happen.
I know, but at that time, people don't think clearly.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. But it's because of her regret that when one of her daughter's classmates died, she made it a point for her and her twin girls to go visit the grieving parents. She wanted them to be able to confront this kind of uncomfortable thing, because it's not about how uncomfortable it makes you feel. It's about what you can do for the people that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted them to learn that lesson and be able to be capable of doing that as they got older. I mean, like I said earlier, anytime someone finds a way to learn or take positive action following something horrible like this, they're doing the right thing. And in her case, she's doing it the way that a parent should, where you try to have your kids learn from your mistakes so they don't have to carry the kind of weight that you do.
Absolutely.
Are you ready for another one?
I am totally ready for another one.
I bet you'll know who this guy is. In December of 1991, a car crossed the center line on a river road in Potomac, Maryland. It struck head-on with a car driven by a 21-year-old Isabel Duarte. She was transported to the hospital where she later died. The car that hit her was driven by a 23-year-old actor named Phill Lewis. Do you know who that is?
No.
Well, you might know Phill Lewis from his role as Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life with Zach and Cody.
Okay, I know that show. So he was the butler or the...
He was like the hotel manager, the black guy, the little black guy.
Okay.
Or if you're me and other adults that didn't watch Sweet Life with Zach and Cody, you would know him from his role as Crazy Hooch from Scrubs.
Okay.
Yeah, he played a Dr. Hooch, and Hooch is crazy. Their jokes were always funny around it. Now, both of these roles were years after this accident, which might not bother you now, but it might bother you a little bit here, a little bit once you know all this stuff. The legal intoxication limit in Maryland at the time of the accident was 0.1% alcohol blood level. Lewis's BAC was almost 3 times that at 0.29%. Just shy. He was almost there. He claims to not be able to remember anything for 10 hours before the accident. His lawyer claimed at the time that they were, whenever they were trying all this, he claimed that they were trying to find who served him so much alcohol because they should be held responsible.
Unfortunately, there is a law about that.
I hate lawyers. I really do. I mean, I get it. You don't serve people whenever they're like can't sit on the bar stool and stuff like that. But at the same time, being somebody that worked service industry and stuff like that is just so many times it's just easier to say, "Here, have what you want. Now go the fuck away and leave me alone."
Yes.
You make $2 an hour. It's not worth fighting somebody over.
Yeah, over a beer.
Yeah. One source said that he went out with some friends from college and drank 15 drinks. He was not a very large man. He was like 5'6" and like 120 pounds, 130 pounds, little guy. After pleading not guilty, because he was going to fight it, at the trial for manslaughter, he was found guilty. He was like, not guilty. And they're like, no, you're guilty. He could have been sentenced to 10 years in prison. Instead, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but the judge suspended 4 of those years.
Huh.
His reasoning: Lewis worked with a prison-based theater troupe that performed for jails, schools, and churches. They did shows that highlighted the dangers of drugs. Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you did some nice stuff. That doesn't work for normal people.
No.
It never works for normal people.
No.
It's like if you're normal, they just throw the book at you next. But
totally forget about you. Close the door, forget about you.
So in the end, he spent 1 year in prison, 2 years on probation, and had 350 hours of community service. He got off.
He was even in an accident. Yeah, he was even in an.
It was an accident. It was an
accident, but his wasn't just being impatient or just a weird driving on the wrong side of the road.
And his was just like Amy Locane. I mean, just drunk almost 3 times the limit, crash and kill somebody. She had the book thrown, not book thrown at her. She eventually got the book thrown at her because the prosecutor was like, "Screw you! I didn't get any of that bribe." Apparently, Phil's people knew how to spread the money out a little bit better, make sure that everybody was on board with it. Since completing his sentence, he has worked consistently with acting jobs. He got married and he has kids now. He hasn't had any more issues with drunk driving since, so it's not one of those things where it's like some asshole that gets busted for drunk driving and then they do it again. So it appears that he learned his lesson. I actually met somebody like that once. It was a guy that made me stop. I stopped hunting at the deer lease that I hunted at because of him. I mean, this dude got just slobbering, just stupid drunk at the deer lease. And the next day he got up and I told him where to go hunt. And I warned him. I was like, don't go to this one spot because that's right by where I'm hunting. It won't be safe. He went to where I told him not to go. And I was looking at a deer and then he shot at it. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I was talking to my dad about it. I was like, I don't feel safe here anymore. And he's like, well, that idiot one time killed a woman drunk driving, went to prison for it. He's like, can you see that dumbass getting slobbering ass drunk? Who does that after you kill somebody because of that? So it's like, ooh. There were some other ones that I was looking at going over. I mean, that still would have fit into this, but some of them still have like pending lawsuits and thing. I wanted stuff that it had already been completed and adjudicated and all that. But yeah, there's still a ton of other celebrities that have killed people in a variety of ways. Some of them, just flat out murderers. So it'll be fun if people want that again. So yeah, if you want to know more about more celebrities that have killed people, let us know in the comments because there's enough for at least 2 or 3 more episodes.
Wow. You could break it up into categories.
Probably. Anything you want to add? Questions?
No, that was just a sad episode, and it kind of shows that if you do have money most of the time, it actually does get you off a little easier.
Yeah, that's why I need to win the lottery so that I can fuck up and be constantly bailed out on it. It'd be great.
It's like on Bill Murray on Kingpin. I finally have enough money that I could get away with anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, his character was great.
All right, well, join us next time when Jason, if he's not too busy appearing in court for driving his car through a Chick-fil-A after another one of his bath salt benders.
Not on Sundays, though.
Yeah, well, once he pays off the judge and DA, he'll tell us all about some stuff that'll make us say, Waywut. You can still drive a car through a Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. If you're on bath salts, you might hallucinate and think that you see people there.
Oh, yeah. The cravings may be even harder at
You'll
that
be
time.
like, there's all these people I can go eat their faces. Or whatever people on bath salts do.
Yeah, I have no idea.
All right, cool. Well, that's it. Bye.
All right. See y'all later.
Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, wait, what?